Hello guys and welcome to the video. So today we're back on Gale 4.6, here to answer a quick question for some of you that might have the question, or for those of you who are not quite sure on what to do on this 4-star monster event. So for anyone who is not yet at this event, this default 4-star monster summon event pretty much gives you a 1 4-star monster of your choosing. And it could be very easy to choose just any monster. A lot of them are very tempting. But I actually compiled a list of 5 units, and not in any particular order, by the way, except for number 1. Number 1 is there for a good reason, but that I believe you should pick, because I think these would be much more helpful to you than probably some random monster like a Skogul or Chasun or the Wind Robo. But yeah. So by the way, you gain points by pretty much just playing the game. Every 100 points, you pretty much get to summon a monster using these things. Now, once you click summon, it doesn't force you to pick that monster. The only way you get that monster is by actually clicking its profile and clicking the button acquire. So, if you do summon a monster and it's not the monster you want, just keep waiting until you get more points and then keep summoning. Do not click acquire unless you are sure. It will not let you pick again. So, let's actually go and check out the list. By the way, check this out. Right, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but it's what I did, right? So, let's get to the number 5 monster. So, the monster in 5th place is Aegir. The reason I picked Aegir is because I believe Aegir has so much use. He has so much capabilities, right? He can be used in a lot of places, virtually almost everywhere in the game. But, I don't see him being used too much anymore. Maybe I'm just not paying attention, but I don't see too many people using him. But I think he's an amazing unit for new players to pick up. You might not use him right now, but you will use him eventually. And when you do use him, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So, again, you can use him from anything from arena to guild battle to dragons, TOA, maybe even the 2A dungeons. But, let's actually get into his skill set and see why he's such a good monster. By the way, his base speed is whatever, right? I wanted to point that out. It's not the craziest. But first skill, attacks the enemy with an axe to inflict 2 dots or 2 dot effects or 2 continuous damage effects for 1 turn with a 60% chance when fully skilled up. I like that. Dots is always a good thing, especially for PvE content. But when in the places yet you're going to be using him, it's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but it's still very helpful. Second skill, attacks an enemy with the Wrathful Axe, leaving a branding effect for 2 turns, and increases his attack bar by 50%. The target with branding effect will receive 25% increased damage every 2 turns, which this is very useful. Branding, you're talking about this can apply to all enemies, not just him, or to all allies, not just him. So whenever any of your allies attacks the enemy with the branding effect, they will deal that 25% increased damage. This is very useful for places like dragons, where you might enter with him and Crow and Verd and all that, and you're trying to kill the dragon as quickly as possible. Placing that branding and allowing Crow to attack can be very, very big. Plus, the attack bar increase is also pretty cool. But, yeah. And every 2 turns, by the way, is really good. Especially in the dragon stage, when the dragon, the dragon goes through the whole cleansing and immunity thing. Being able to have this pretty much every 2 turns is a godsend. And plus, attribute advantage. But, second skill, Confiscate, attacks the enemy 2 times, with each strike having a 75% chance to steal 1 beneficial effect from the enemy. This is very important, again, for the dragon stage, where the boss will get cleansed and gain immunity from one of his towers. Being able to attack 2 times, and each of those times having a 75% chance to strip the enemy of their beneficial effects. Super, super helpful. Like, you have no idea. Like, some people are like, okay, I only just need 1 stripper, and I bring Lauren, and then they go into dragons, and then Lauren doesn't strip, and they're just like, what the heck? So having a second stripper there that not only helps deal more damage, but steals beneficial effects as well. Or, yeah, steal 1. So he'll get the beneficial effect, by the way. Super helpful. Absorbs the attack bar by 50% each if the enemy has no beneficial effects. So even if he does use this skill when the dragon has no beneficial effects, this can be very helpful, especially for rotating turns. I mean, let's say he uses this on the wave right before the dragon's boss. Then you guys enter the stage. He does this, fills up his attack bar, and then gets right back into Wrathful Axe. I mean, super useful for just throwing out as many turns as possible if you attack the enemy with no beneficial effects. Goes under Berserk State for 3 turns afterwards. Under Berserker State, the max HP of this unit is decreased by 30%. Damage dealt to the enemy is increased by 100%, which is always good. Attack speed is increased by 20%, and HP is recovered by 10% of the damage dealt. This is, again, really big, faster, stronger, and he heals himself. So, there's tons to love about this unit. Again, branding, stripping, dealing increased damage, and dots. What isn't there to love, right? But, yeah, let's move on to the next unit. Let's move on to number 4. Now, I mentioned number 4, or all these numbers aren't in any particular order except for, like, pretty much the top 3. So number 4 and 5, feel free to switch it around. I don't really care. But number 4 is one of my favorite monsters. I actually love... This is probably at least either number 2 or number 1 of my favorite Nat 4s. But, Chilling. Chilling is an amazing unit, which, again, you will use him in a lot of dungeons. You might not use him everywhere. He might not be as versatile as Aegir, for example. But I think for what you are going to be using him for, he's very good at his job. Because it's not just about, like, hey, I can use him here, here, and here, and here. It's about how well are they even doing the job that you're giving them, right? There's no point in having someone who's there to stun an enemy if they're not even stunning half the time, right? But Chilling, the job you're going to have him there for, he's pretty much doing consistently the entire time. But let's find out what he's actually even doing, right? So, first of all, his leader skill increases the accuracy of monsters in the dungeon by 40%. This can be really big, especially depending on where you're using him. But, yeah, just note that, right? Attacks the enemy 3 times, each attack having a 30% chance to deal the enemy's, or to decrease the enemy's attack speed for 2 turns. This attack will deal more damage according to his attack speed. This is pretty good. Attack speed slows. I love slows. You guys know that. Second skill, Song of the Night Wind, increases the attack speed and critical rate of all allies for 2 turns. This is massive. You're talking about if you decide to take him into dragons, increasing the attack speed of all allies when you're mixing him with the Vertiheal and other units that are already going super fast. This is going to be crazy. You're going to be flying through these dungeons. And critical rate, again, mixing him with Vertiheal, you can potentially even, like, if you're missing out on, like, a bit of critical rate, like on Vertiheal, because most people like Vertiheal on, like, 100% crit rate, but if you have to sacrifice a bit of crit rate for more tankiness or damage or whatever, he's bringing that extra little bit of crit rate. But what I love about this unit is his passive, right? So his passive, he steals a beneficial effect from the enemy target when landing an attack. And remember this, he attacks 3 times on his first skill. Your attack speed increases according to the number of beneficial effects currently on you. In addition, recovers your HP by 10% whenever you steal 1 beneficial effect from the enemy. So he steals these. So when you're in the dragon stage, I already mentioned the immunity and all that, he will have 3 attacks almost every turn that have a chance to steal beneficial effects. Now, in a way, I think he's better. I think he's better than Lauren at stripping. Lauren is definitely a better overall unit than Chilling, in my opinion. But when it comes to stripping a unit, when you're talking about whenever he attacks on his first skill, he has a chance to steal beneficial effects. You can't really argue with what you're seeing here, right? And not only that, healing and doing more damage and being faster dependent on his attack speed and beneficial effects. This guy's a concurrent stripper, right? He's consistent. And you can use him in places like dragons or other dungeons. Again, he's not as super versatile, but you can use him in places like Siege or dragons. There's probably some people who use him maybe in Necro, but I doubt it. Necrop, you see, it seems like someone tried it. Dimensional Hole, huh? But, yeah, I like this guy. He's very consistent. He's not as like boom, pow, amazing, popping out at the screen at you, but when you do need him, he's there for you and he gets the job done. But let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is Tyron. Not surprisingly, the water units are just completely owning this list. But Tyron is pretty much a worldwide favorite. You ask a majority of people, everyone's going to say, oh yeah, Tyron. Tyron is a really good choice. You can use him in arena, guild battles, siege, TOA, potentially even other places in Kairos. I don't want to open my mouth and say anything that I might regret, though, so, yeah. First of all, OP lead. Any lead or skill that gives you attack speed is already a good start. But, first skill, throws a small spirit at the enemy and increases your critical rate by 30% at the next turn if you get a critical hit. This can be pretty good, though there isn't any real reason to have him critical rate or whatever. I don't really see too much of a reason. But yeah. Second skill, attacks all enemies with the Cyclone 2 times. Each attack has a 40% chance of increasing the enemy's chance of landing a glancing hit for 2 turns. Also reduces the attack bar by 75% if you attack an enemy under the decreased attack speed effect with each attack. Every 3 turns, and the chance goes from 75%, or sorry, not 75% chance, from 40% to 50% every 3 turns when fully skilled up. This can be a big deal. Again, I love glancing hit. You saw in the last video when I was talking about Shannon, glancing hit is such a big deal. I'll put the list of what glancing hit does on the screen again. But it decreases, pretty much effectively, I think, decreases damage by like, what, 50% or something like that? I can't remember. Prevents critical hits from being dealt, so this can be big in places like Kairos, or even in arena or guild battle when there's a unit that is supposed to crit, or like Verti heal, and you don't want him to crit. This can be very helpful. And reduces attack bar whenever they're under attack speed slow. Again, big deal. AoE or an AoE crowd control and someone who's manipulating the attack bar, perfect. This is already more than enough of a reason, but his third skill just makes it all better, right? Attacks all enemies with the Hailstorm to decrease their attack speed. Remember, the other skill is based off of attack speed for 2 turns and freezes them for 1 turn every 4 turns. So he's a crowd control monster with his skills. But not only that, if you decide to, this is just something I would prefer, is if you decide to build him on a Despair set, not only do you have a chance to freeze and slow, but on both of these skills, you would also have a 25% chance to stun the enemy if you use him. So if you go into TOA with him on a Despair set, there are so many times and chances that you'll just either be reducing the attack bar of the enemy and stunning, or freezing them outright. Or if you miss the freeze, a chance to stun. So tons of crowd control. I mean, I'm actually curious. Is anyone like against the Despair? Despair focus, yeah. A majority of people are Despair focus. Figured. And I'm imagining he's speed, HP, accuracy, HP, probably HP again, but I prefer accuracy. Usage, siege battle, of course siege battle, arena battles, Trial of Ascension, sweet. 100th floor on normal. Yeah, tons of TOA stages, Kairos, and Dragons. I can imagine him in Dragons. Maybe not the best choice, but can definitely see him there. But you see, he's being used pretty much everywhere. So that's why he's on number 3. He would have probably been up higher. I probably should have put him at number 2, but whatever, right? So let's actually move on to the number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list is Galleon. In my opinion, Galleon is higher up than Tyron. But if you want to switch those 2 around, I'm not going to argue against you, right? But Galleon, speed lead for guild content, 24%. First skill, decreases enemies' defense with a 100% chance when fully skilled up for 1 turn. This can be pretty big. Second skill, deals a powerful attack to an enemy and absorbs a 30% of its attack bar every 2 turns. Again, preventing enemies from moving as often, and not only that, increasing your attack bar by 30% can be good, can be really big. You're obviously wanting to build this guy super fast and super accurate. Third skill, unleashes a battle cry that increases the attack power of all allies for 2 turns and decreases the defense of the enemy for 2 turns with a 100% chance every 4 turns when skilled up completely. This, massive, right? Being able to buff all allies attack by 50% and then decrease the enemy's defense by 50%. You're talking about, this can be a very killing blow. I mean, there's tons of videos of Galleon being used out there. I do suggest you watch them and you'll see exactly how useful this guy is. Speed, you can use him literally speed energy, swift focus, or I said speed energy, I meant swift energy. But swift focus works. A lot of people use violent will. Obviously, violent's a good one. Speed, HP, accuracy, in my opinion. Yeah, you can see a lot of people who go accuracy. He's used in siege battle, obviously. But places like Arena, Tartarus, Kairos, especially the Giant's Keep. He used to be used tons in the Giant's Keep, though he is kind of being like pushed further and further away from the Giant's Keep by other more consistent teams. But he's definitely still usable. But yeah. So how about we move on to the number 1 unit on the list, which, again, for anyone who's been playing a long while, we'll have a pretty good idea who's number 1. No, okay. Number 1 on the list is Lushen. I mean, this guy, I'm pretty sure, I'm sure I'm not the only one that says this, is a Nat 5 and a Nat 4 skin. I mean, this guy is probably even better than some of the Nat 5s out there. Actually, no, I'm going to say that with confidence. He's most definitely better than some Nat 5s out there. I mean, what's not to love about this dude? Dungeons, first of all, attack lead by 33%. You're going to be using this guy in Giants, especially Kairos. You could use him in a lot of these 2A dungeons. You're going to be using him in TOA. You're going to be using him in Arena for sure. 100%. You're going to be using him from day 1 all the way to your final day of playing until you literally leave this earth, whether it's through nuclear bombs or gunshots to the head or herpes or something like that. I don't know. However you die. I don't know. That or you live a peaceful life. But this guy is going to be used daily. I promise you he is. But I think it's better to show you exactly why he's going to be used. So, first skill, throws a sharp card to attack an enemy, disturbs the enemy's HP recovery for 2 turns with a 100% chance when fully skilled up. And you can skill this guy up through fusion monsters. You can get, I believe you can fuse the fire Joker in the fusion hexagram, so it's easy to skill this guy up. I mean, it would require a bit of work, but you can get it done. Second skill, summons a surprise box that inflicts damage and grants 1 random effect amongst the enemy. He either stuns them, places the glancing hit rate, and attack speed decrease to all enemies every 3 turns. Pretty decent. But the main thing you're going to like about this guy is his third skill, Amputation Magic. Throws a number of cards and inflicts damage to all enemies, ignoring their defense every 4 turns. I believe he throws like 3 or 4 cards each to all enemies. You're talking about an AoE ignore defense attack. And this guy, he's built with massive damage. He is known... People use this guy to cleave arena defenses. But not only... Again, using Kairos, he will sweep waves. He will clear waves. You'll get to the Giant's boss room before you know it. Used in Arena to, again, sweep through defenses. Like, there are a lot of people who literally make it their job to make anti-Lushen defenses. Imagine that. This 4-star monster is so strong, people have to purposefully build against this guy. This guy is good. Use him in TOA to clear all these TOA floors super quick. He has so much potential. And it's easy to see that from the get-go. You go into his, you go into his monster info, the reviews, and you see everyone talking about how he's a beast. Best early game, not bad at all for a free-to-play unit. This guy is a must-have, have 6-starred 2. Oh yeah, by the way, a lot of people would suggest, and I would be one of those people that would suggest, whenever you get one of these guys, build them. Build more than one. I promise you're going to want to build more than one. But you look at this, 6k per card on skill 3. That's insane. Let's see how he has him ruined. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Rageblade, yep. But you're going to see his usage. Giants keep on the Staff Tattoo teams. Arena. Siege. Everywhere. He's used everywhere. Statistics, obviously Rage Blade or Fatal Blade. Attack, crit damage, attack is a very obvious choice. But yeah, he's number 1 for a clear reason, and he's number 1 by quite the landslide. But the other units are still good, but more likely than not, if you're like me, I'm going for Lushen. Lushen is always a good pick, and even if I happen to summon another one later on, I will probably build both of them regardless. I say it's like never feed a Lushen. Build 30 of them if you have to, but keep all of them. They're all going to be super useful to you, especially later on when you're way into endgame and doing things like Siege and all that. You're going to want tons of Lushens. But yeah, I think that's the list. Good luck summoning in this new user event. I've given you my opinions, but at the end of the day, this game, you're supposed to have fun in this game, and pick whichever monster you want. If you decide that you want to go with the Wind Taoist for whatever godforsaken reason, go for the Wind Taoist. But yeah, that's my list of 5 units that I believe you should pick in this default 4-star monster summon event, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.